everyone, welcome to Day to Day Knit, episode 30. My name is Sarah. I live in Tennessee with my husband Joseph and our dog Effie. Join me with a cup of tea or whatever. I'm drinking, it's from Hardy and Sons and it's called something like Autumn something. I don't know. I forget what it is, the name of it, but it's a fall flavor. Today I'm going to briefly tell you what I have on, talk to you about a finished project, a whip, 2 yarns that I have, just mentioning. I'm not going to go really deep into them, and 3 projects that are on my queue. So let me just start with what I have on. This is the Jupiter Crop by Caitlin Hunter. I'm doing it with the original yarn. I switched the pattern to, instead of having a quarter length or short sleeve, to have a long sleeve because it's color work. It just made more sense for me. And I also add just a little pattern with the leftover of the white. When I finished this sweater, I had some yarn left. I had, and I still have, a full skein of the red, and it's up there. I have some of the blue right next to it. I have a little bit of the white. I used to have more. I also used to have brown and the pink, but now I only have enough to mend it. And why is that? It is because I have made a new project. Joseph told me on Monday, Sarah, when you go to work, you're gonna have to wear gloves. This is because I cycle and it is very cold outside. The weather is changing, the trees are starting to get yellow leaves, some trees are almost have no leaves left. And actually tonight I'm gonna have to bring my plants in that are potted because the temperature is going to drop down to -Celsius, so in the high 20s, very low 30s, so freezing temperatures. And he told me that on Monday, and I said, okay, well, how about when I get home I just cast on a new project and I'll make some mitts. And that's what I did. I cast on Monday night, I think, and I finished yesterday at dinner time. The project is called Last Minute Handstulpen. I think that's how you say that. I think it is German. But basically, they are mitts. They are by someone that I did not write their name, and I used the leftovers that I used for this sweater. I used the brown, most of the brown, I used most of the pink I had left, and I used the vast majority of the white. And this one is the only one that is correct. This one, I made a mistake. I started by doing the same as this, so it was, what do you call it? 2 right hands. I made 2 right hands. So then I undid only the stitches that were wrong, and I tried to correct it that way. Instead of frogging the whole pink area that I had done wrong, I only frogged the stitches that were wrong, and I tried to fix it that way, meaning it is still not correct, but whatever, it works. So the reason I picked this pattern is it looked very simple, and it is. It is really simple. I would suggest trying this pattern if it's your first mitt. And they do it all in one color. I just had different colors leftovers, so I decided to put all those together. Although now it looks like a chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla ice cream. Yes. So one of the reasons that I picked this pattern was because that it looked very easy, and the other one is just this detail that I really like. That because I did this one wrong, I don't have it here, and this is kind of weird. but that's because I did not fix my mistakes correctly somehow. They're supposed to be mirrored, obviously. And I did 2 changes to this pattern. Nothing crazy, it was just to fit my hand better. So my wrist is usually a small, like the smallest of mitts for adults or gloves for adults. So it's just a very thin wrist, although there's thinner out there. So I decided to go for the smallest pattern, casting on, and I did the whole ribbing following that smallest size. But then it turns out that measuring my hand, I was a medium. So when I got to this part where I had to do all these increases, I increased until I hit the medium size, which means that I did a few more rows than I needed to. And even past that, when I tried it on and I pushed down the wrist until I wanted it, because actually the wrist is supposed to be up here, but I prefer to like have it further back, snugger. So that's, well, this sweater has really long sleeves. But if I have like a sweater or a shirt, like a button down shirt or blouse, then I don't get the risk of getting wind coming in just because the sleeves is a little bit shorter. But then when I tried it on and it said to separate for the thumb, I wasn't at the right point to separate, so I needed to knit 4 more rows after that, and then that was it. And then I bound off with a little bit of the leftover brown, and that's it. I really like them, as in they're very comfortable to wear, they're very easy to knit. Highly recommend them if you have to do any last minute gifts. And it's just easier to knit than a pair of socks, because obviously you just have to have a general idea of the size of the person's hands, just how narrow or wide, big or small they are. Length is not really an issue. They're meant to cover your hands, so. I'm kind of stuffy. I don't know why. But they're the last minute Handstulpen. And I have to hurry up because I have low battery on my laptop. Okay, so the other project is by Suvi, Simola. I don't know the person's name, how to pronounce it, but the pattern is called Right Direction. It is a sweater that I am actually turning into a cardigan. So I did several changes to this pattern. The pattern has ribbing on top. I decided to not have that and have an I-cord. So I did not cast on with an I-cord. Instead, I just I did a provisional cast on using a cable that is now holding my stitches, and then I'll just pick those up and do an I-cord bind off. Another thing that I changed is to make this a cardigan. I added 7 purl stitches to be able to steek. I've never steeked before. I'll be doing it next week. It's very exciting stuff. And something to take off the fear knitting list. And because I added that there to cut through, I did not do the arrows in the middle. The pattern has arrows pointing down on each side, and the original pattern has arrows pointing up down the center of the sweater. But I decided to not include those. Then I'm going to have I-cords on each side too. And lastly, sort of the last changes that I did were that this is not going to be as long as I have no idea if I'm in frame. I hope I am. But it is not going to be as long as the sweater. The sweater is really long. It hugs your hips. I wanted this to be more of an average to semi-cropped length to wear like over dresses and such. And while I have the ribbing very similar to the ribbing in the sweater, like with 3 pearls and 1 type of knitted stitch, I'm not going to finish the way they are. I'm not going to add those last few rows, and instead I'm going to do another I-cord. Then the sleeves are also not going to be as long as the pattern, because the pattern sleeves are very long. I want them to be shorter than the ones that I have on today, just to be like at wrist size. And hopefully I'll have this done next time I film. I started at the end of September. It is now the beginning, no, we're halfway through October. It's October 16th, Sunday. And the yarn I'm using is Gloss by Knit Picks. It is beautiful, it has a beautiful sheen, however, it's just, I don't know, somehow too hot for me to knit. It's 70% merino, 30% silk. I don't know if it's that combo that makes my hands like clammy, which is weird because I knitted a sweater that is 100% wool, and I did not have the same issues, and the weight of both yarns is very, very similar. So I don't get it, but whatever. Then one of my friends from California, well, she's not from California, she's living in California. She gifted me this. This is from Yarnable, which I used to receive, but then I stopped receiving. And she gave it to me because she doesn't like it, but I love the yellow. Canary yellow is my favorite color, so there you go. And I think I might join it with another skein that she dyed. She is very gifted. We are a group of friends that we're sort of all more or less in a different generation. Like, I'm in my late 20s, I'm 28, she is in her early 30s, then there's someone in the 40s, someone in the 60s, someone in the 50s, and we all get together twice a week and we just sit and knit. But we're like all over North America, except Mexico. None of us is in Mexico, so we're in Canada and the US. But she dyed the skein for me, and she dyed different skeins for each one of us. She wanted to do a very dark pink for me, but it turned out redder than what she had in mind. So then she mixed different colors, not knowing that it would end up being like a Portuguese flag. This is also sock yarn. It is 85 superwash merino, 15% nylon, just like Yarnable's skeins. And she's not doing dyeing skeins for other people, although I think she could if she wanted to. Maybe she will one day, and if so, I will let you all know. But because it is Portuguese colors, I'm thinking I might do like a sports bra or a little top combined with that yellow, because yellow is also in our flag, to wear at like sports events or whenever the national team is playing, you know. Yeah, so that's exciting stuff, something in the future to make. And lastly, the reason why I watch other knitting podcasts is 1, for company, and 2, for inspiration, to learn about new patterns and designers and such. So I thought that I would leave 3 patterns that I decided recently to put on my queue on Ravelry, and those are Laplace by Linda Marveng. I don't know, all the links are below for all the things. And this is a pantsuit. It is a jacket and pants, and they look professional. They look like they could be worn at a wedding or a baptism or something like that. They're beautiful. I like the jacket a lot. It has this like cabling detail down here, and the pants have a cabling detail on the side. But the reason I found this is because I've been looking for pants that I could wear at work that do not look too casual. I'm not going to knit them anytime soon. It is a lot of knitting to make pants, and to make those pants specifically. But they are so beautiful that I decided to put them on my list for some time in the future. So that's one suggestion. Another suggestion is something I'm actually probably going to start knitting in November. It is called Mütze or something like that. And then #when, so #when. It's a very plain hat. It is done with worsted. It is ribbing all the way. And you can either wear it like, you know, slouchy or just as the classic fit. And I'll be doing it for someone for Christmas, not a random person, someone I have in mind. And I'll have to buy yarn for that soon. Maybe next weekend. I don't know, whenever I finish this jacket, I'll buy yarn for it. And I'll start that hat. But it's like just a classic hat. The pattern looks fairly easy, so that's my suggestion. Last suggestion is by Florence Sperling, and I believe I had a class with her on the knitting festival in Portugal, called Knit with Friends or Knitting with Friends. It's at the beginning of June. And her pattern, is called Scout Shawl, and it is gorgeous. I love it. First, I love the colors she chose. They're like so, I don't know, such happy colors. Very classic spring. And one of the reasons I like the pattern is because it mixes sort of like a traditional look of color work with the fact that it's a collage, and it's all like triangles and squares and rectangles of colorwork patterns coming together to make a shawl. I think it is beautiful, and so I decided to add it on my list. It will be a piece of work whenever I decide to do it, but I mean, it looks so beautiful. So maybe one of you would like to make that. And there's a suggestion. And that is it as of right now. I bought 2 new skeins, but they haven't arrived yet. So maybe next time I'll talk about those. But it's yarn that's I bought because it was going to not be on sale anymore. On sale, yes. It was on sale in sales because they're gonna remove the yarn from circulation at that dyeing company. So that's it. Got new yarn, new projects, something done. Exciting stuff is happening. Fall is here and temperatures are dropping. I hope you all have a wonderful end of October. I'm sure I will. And I will see you next time. Bye. Suvi.